Hey guys, Pat Ryarky here, also known as the Patriarchy. All hail the Patriarchy, well into 2017. Alright, so this is an article covering a YouTube video. I was just going to watch the video and respond to it, and I have seen the video, but I don't want to get like a claim from them or anything like that, or a strike, because I'm probably going to say some mean shit, so I'm just going to use the article to talk about the things in the video. These are two YouTubers named Riyadh K or Ryad K. I'm assuming it's Riyadh or something, and Melanie Murphy have come up with 10 questions you should never ask a bisexual or gay person. And here they are. And this is on the Independent, which is a terrible publication. So let's go through these. Let's see if these are questions that you should never ask a gay or bisexual person. These are always things you see in BuzzFeed videos or on those kinds of sites like Everyday Feminism and stuff like that. They try to police your words and tell you what you're not allowed to say. And the context that they apply applies to everything in life, because all gay people think the way they do. That's the funniest thing about these LGBT like people who are like the outward speakers. They get to speak for the entire gay community, their individual feelings and thoughts on it. Like, they get to speak and represent like a lot of people. There's a lot of gay people. I mean, I know they're not the majority of the population, but there's still a lot of gay people. So it's like, well, you can't possibly fathom their lives or be able to talk about the complexities of experience. It's not possible. Yet they try to make up these rules, and it's like every question they have on here, I've had these questions with gay friends of mine that I've talked to, and none of this offends them. So the fact that they're putting it on here like, hey, this offends gay people, it's like, well, my gay and bi friends don't feel offended by it. So because they don't apply to your logic, they don't think the way you do, they're wrong. It's this weird thing. They don't seem to think that other people that are gay can think differently than them, be it politically, socially, anything. They have to agree with them blindly, which I think is really condescending. And I've always felt very rude to the gay community. I've always felt it's been very... These people feel like they can just speak for them. It's kind of hilarious. They don't see that. Who's the man or woman in the relationship? So you basically just be asking who's the man or woman. It's old gay lingo. Everyone's asked this question or had this funny talk. It's not that big of a deal. It's kind of a joke. People just have fun with it. What you want to ask is who's the masculine or feminine one in the relationship. Some people have no problem with that question. Some people would find it offensive, but you don't need to know it, to be honest. Well, most people don't find that question to be an issue. So, you don't need to know it to be honest. You don't need to know a lot of things to be honest, but that's part of asking questions and getting to know people. Is you ask them questions and you have a sense of humor and fun with them. Like, what, am I just supposed to sit there and not ask the gay guy anything about being gay? Or ask him anything about his life? That's like a gay guy asking me, it's like, hey, is your girlfriend really dominant? Is she really manly or something? Like, they're just... It's just basic human conversation. Not everyone gets triggered. Okay, let's see what number 2 is. Are you bi because you're greedy? Are you bi because you're greedy? People ask that? What? I don't think people are asking that question, especially with that wording. Are you bi because you're greedy? I think it's an awful question to ask a person, because when you're bi, it just means you have the capacity to find men and women attractive. Well, what's wrong with asking the question, though? Then you can give the answer and explain to someone what being bisexual is. If somebody can't ask you the question and get the answer, then they'll never know any better. So if you're telling them to ask, like, hey, why are you bi? What makes you bi? They're never going to get the answer. And they could be like, what, are you bi because you want to sleep with everyone? Is that, or, you know, are you really bi? That's another question. Because that's always one where I've met a lot of bi people where they're like, yeah, I like girls, and then they've never slept with a girl, do anything with girls, but they date guys. And I know that's not a fair criticism of bisexual, but it is odd. I've met lots of people who claim to be bi and they never do anything with someone of the opposite, of the same sex. And it's always like, well, why don't you do the gay side sometimes? It's weird you only ever do the hetero side, and you never seem to show any interest in the same sex, despite telling me constantly you're bi. So it's kind of confusing. I do feel like there's people out there who lie about being bisexual to try and turn people on or seem cool. So it makes it confusing. It's hard to really tell if someone's really bisexual. I met plenty of people are bi, and I don't know to believe them or not. I'm not saying that I'm I'm automatically not believing them, but it's suspicious. And it's weird sometimes. I've met a lot of dudes like that. They're like, "Oh yeah, dude, I'm bi," but they really don't seem to like men. It's just, you can tell when people like people when they're attracted. And I've heard the theory is like bi people are like werewolves, but that sounds like bullshit people make up who don't have a good answer. I mean, if you're bi, then you should find men and women attractive. I know it means you have the capability to, but it's one of the oddest things out there, bisexuality, because it definitely leans more weird. Like, some people are more attracted to men or women, and there's not really a good way to break it down. There's not a really good way to articulate bisexuality. It's very tough to define. I mean, we all have a fantasy of it. Guys want to bang two chicks. Women probably want to have sex with two men. I don't know. I'm not a woman, but I assume. So, you have to have that, like, oh, maybe a woman with another woman, but in my life experience, it's never that simple. Does your partner not worry about you cheating because you're bi? Really? That's a question people ask? Does your partner not worry about you cheating? Really? They ask you that because you're bi? That seems odd. I mean, if the person didn't come off trustworthy, that would be an interesting question. But once again, do people ask that? If you're bi, could you tell me in the comments if you've been asked that? In my experience, not at all, because I've dated people who are very understanding of me. Straight people cheat all the time. Yeah, that's why I don't buy that question. It's kind of a silly question. It's like, why did you even put it on this list? It's like you just thought of something dumb. Like, what's a dumb question somebody could ask someone? Let me ask that question. Like, I could come up with dumb questions for things too, like dumb things not to ask straight people. And I just come up with things that people don't say that often. Like, hey, how much hair's on your girlfriend's vagina? Does she have a hairy pussy? Stuff that I don't get asked ever. Be like, never ask a guy that question, if his girlfriend has hair on her pussy. It's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't ask that question if you don't know a guy very well. I've never been asked that. I could make a list and say, hey, don't ask that question. But it wouldn't mean anything. It'd be an idiotic thing for me to point out. Okay. When did you realize you were gay or bi? That's a good question. On the surface level, it's absolutely fine. But what I normally say back to people is, when did you realize you were straight? Probably around 6 or 7. I love I always get asked that question back, Abe. They go, when did you realize you were straight? And I have an answer. They think, like, I don't know when I started to get attracted to girls. They seem to think that from a baby, I knew that I wanted to have... It's like, no, when I was, like, 2nd grade, I started to get attracted to girls, and I like girls. And I noticed girls, and I liked looking at girls. So that's your answer. That's when I knew. I was like, oh, I like women. I'm straight. I found that out when I was probably, I'd say 7. It's the age I figured it out. So there's your answer. So I can answer that question without getting offended at all. I can be like, oh, yeah, 7. That's when I realized it. And when you get asked that question, for some reason it's offensive, and you shouldn't ask that question. It's a pretty good question, really. Especially if you're trying to understand this person's experience. You're trying to relate to them mentally. How can you not have empathy if you don't know the experience? Like, hey, when did you know? What was it? What is it like? I mean, people ask me about I mean, you can have conversations even as a heterosexual about your sexuality and how you feel about things and preferences. You have those conversations. These are very normal conversations to have. As a teenager, these are normal conversations to have. Jeez. Like, if a gay person got offended, or a bi person, that I asked them that, at, like, what age did they realize they were different, or that they were... I mean, because, yeah, I don't... It's weird, because I realized I was straight at a certain age. I wasn't... I mean, I was born straight, but I didn't know. When I was a little kid, I didn't know I wanted to have sex with girls and all that stuff. When I was in kindergarten, I wasn't thinking about banging girls. I mean, maybe some kids do. I wasn't that way. And I really didn't get into girls till I was, like, 10. And I, like, started to hit puberty. Like, 10, 11 and that. Before that, I really didn't care that much. Why do gay guys always have to be so feminine? Number 1, what is masculinity and femininity in 2017? Who knows? It changes. I guess. This is not an act, this is me. Also, I think it's the tone of the question. If you ask someone, why are you so feminine, you're kind of alluding to the fact you think being feminine and male is a bad thing, and it's not a bad thing. Actually, you could ask that question in that tone without it meaning that. I mean, you could legitimately ask. Although, a lot of gay guys I know aren't feminine. They're very masculine and act just like normal dudes. and they don't like gay guys who talk with the voice and act like they bitch about them. I've hung out with gay guys who bitch about those guys. They're like, I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they do that. Like, just act like a normal guy. Like, why are you making a big deal out of being gay? And I'm like, oh, you feel that way too? It's just like, am I supposed to be impressed that you're gay? Like it's a superpower? Like, I'm gay, yay! It's like, good for you! Wow, you like to suck a dick that you like that? You like the person that you have sex with? Oh my god. How do you do it? You have sex with someone you're attracted to? How'd you crack that code? Can you please stop rubbing your sexuality in our faces? How many heterosexual relationships do we have to be force-fed our whole lives and there's never a question about it at all? I don't actually think that's necessarily true. The LGBT community and the gay community is hypersexual. It is way oversaturated. The gay shows I can think of, just off the top of my head, like Queer as Folk or Will and Grace even, very sexual. It's rare to see a gay character in a movie or TV show where it's not sexualized. And I mean hypersexualized. Even Brokeback Mountain, it's like two dudes fucking intensely. Beautiful movie. But a lot of gay films, Blue is the Warmest Color, have like pornographic scenes of gay sex. And they make the relationships very sexual. Even in a lot of TV shows, I'm even thinking about like 6 Feet Under and stuff, the gay characters are very sexual. I think it's part of gay culture. If you want to ignore that, that's fine, but drugs are rampant in gay culture. Hypersexuality. I mean, a lot of this, the AIDS crisis, the reason it was so awful is there was a lot of people that, you know, it was a subculture that got really affected by it because they were more open to get that disease. That's what makes it so tragic. Because they were all just innocent people, just, you know, having sex and stuff. It wasn't, you know, they didn't deserve that. But that's the thing about it. Like, it's part of gay culture. I mean, if you're ignoring that, you know, men are very sexual beings and they're very visual. So two men being gay and having sex is going to be different than a man and a woman courting each other and having sex. It's very different. I mean, you could pretend it's the same thing. It is emotionally, but there's a lot of differences between two men getting together and a woman and a man getting together. There's a whole different set of things with that. I don't know. Like I said, why are gay pride parades like people running around naked and stuff? And they said it's because your sexuality's been embraced for years and ours isn't. It's like, I don't want to embrace heterosexuality like that. Like, we tame it down. We really do. There's some people that are that way and some people aren't. But if you were to just assume the gay community off its representatives and what we see, even Milo Yiannopoulos, you would think they're the most pervy people in the world. Even the conservative gay guys, you would think it's just the most perverted people you've ever seen are gay people. That they're completely anti-PC, that they like foul language, they like to talk dirty. I don't care. I enjoy that stuff too. But it's definitely been something that's been around in the gay community a while. So I literally say heterosexual relationships, do we have to be force-fed? It's like, what are you talking about? There's not this overstatement of sexuality and heterosexuality, like, at all. Especially considering how many heterosexuals there are on this planet of 7 billion people. It's pretty low. But for how much of a population there are of gay people, it's insane how much sex there is. Like, Naked Ape brought this up once, why he doesn't like the gay community. Because it's all about sex. And he said if your sexuality is the most interesting thing about you, you're very vapid and boring, and it's true. It's like they think the fact that they suck a dick or you know, put on a strap on and have sex with another girl, they think that's the most interesting aspect about them. It's like, that doesn't make you interesting. Just like any kind of hetero sex doesn't make you interesting. Will you be my gay best friend? I won't be your gay best friend, but if we get on very well, I'll just be your best friend. It's not about being a product, it's about being a person you want to be around a lot. I mean, I guess I can agree with that one. I mean, I think the gay best friend thing's kind of a joke. But, alright, if someone says that and you say, hey, you know, that okay, fine. Can we go shopping together? That's a great question. Actually, no, that's it. I have a gay boyfriend I can introduce you to. Maybe you could go on a date. Wait, you shouldn't ask a gay or a bi person, can we go shopping together? Why? What? I'm very... Why are you not allowed to... Yeah, it says, never ask gay or bi person these questions. Can we go shopping together? So if a girl meets a lesbian girl, and she hits it off there, and she's hetero, and she says, hey, can we go shopping together? You shouldn't ask that. What? Okay, I don't get that one. Maybe I misunderstand the context. It's like, why can't you ask a gay person to go shopping with you? Oh, because you just assume I'm gay, I like to shop. It's like, a lot of people like to shop. It's... You're talking about stereotypes, and then you're assuming stereotypes about shopping. I like shopping. I go buy clothes all the time. I have a gay bi friend. Can I introduce you to? Maybe you could go on a date. It's the same as any other relationship or dating situation. There has to be more compatibility there than the fact you randomly happen to have the same sexuality. Wasn't that kind of what a blind date is, though? Like, you're somebody gay and you're like, hey, I know this guy. Maybe you want to go on a date with him and see if you like him. And then if you don't like him, you don't go on another date. It's part of getting set up on a blind date. So it is the same thing. But a lot of the time, you don't know if you have compatibility until you go on a date. You can't just know if you're getting along with something. Although, granted, everyone in the social justice world and LGBT community seems to only use dating apps and the internet to date people. Because, like, every article that talks about this stuff always brings up, like, internet dating most of the time. It's like, you know, in real-life interaction, you don't get to look at someone's profile. You have same-sex marriage now. Isn't that enough? No, there are so many things. The everyday homophobia that's out there, discrimination in the workplace, international LGBT rights issues. Yes, like Islam. Could you specifically say Sharia law in Islam and how they treat gay people? Those are issues internationally. Agree with that. The fight is ongoing for equality. Gay marriage is not the end of the battle, but it's definitely a big step. Well, what's the next step? Until you, what, you want to... I've always said this, the LGBT community will never be happy. They could have a gay president. They could have gay sing... Because really, we love gay people in our culture. They're embraced. It's insane. For how low of a population they are, it's insane how embraced they are. I mean, it's... All Broadway is gay people. That's not a stereotype. It's just what it is. A lot of the men on Broadway are gay. There's so many fashion designers now, people like that are gay. So many famous artists now are gay. Rappers, singers, performers, directors. So many characters on TV now are gay. You don't see it as much in movies still. But, you know, at the end of the day, though, it's like... They have this idea that gay people still get, like... They have a high chance of getting murdered or beat up every day. And you really look at the statistics, and it's not really true. It's hyperbole at its absolute worst. Because they're trying to perpetuate an idea of mass amount of hate crimes and hatred towards gay people and like acting like it's overwhelming. But the problem is when you actually break a lot of these things down, it's a lot of crimes that necessarily wouldn't fall under a hate crime, but they're just considered a hate crime because it's a gay person. Like if you get mugged and you're straight, you just got mugged. If you get mugged and you're gay or beat up, it's because that guy was a homophobe. That's my problem with hate crimes. They're very odd. I've had these issues with them. It's with the race thing. It was a hate crime. And it's like, well, it depends. And they don't seem to give the same luxury to white people. Like, I've been robbed before by a black guy and had a gun in my mouth when I was, like, 13. And they were calling me, like, white motherfucker and stuff. They were saying, they were making a point about being white, but I didn't get to charge them with the hate crime. So it's a little odd. Hate crimes seem very subjective. And I don't like that aspect. I don't get the legality of it. I think you should eliminate hate crimes and just keep crimes as crimes and not have the hate crime part. Because it just seems like a can of worms. But it's not that I don't care about gay people and their struggles, and obviously the stuff going on in the rest of the world's an issue, and I'm glad they mentioned that. But they bring up stuff like everyday homophobia. You're never going to get rid of that. It's like the racism argument. There's always going to be people that are assholes, and 1,000 years from now there's going to be people that are assholes. It's the same reason we can't get rid of murder or rape. Those things just don't go away. They're so embedded in human nature that it's so far away from happening. But they think utopia is like within reach if they just connect to enough people. But that's just not how the world works. Every generation thinks it's going to save life and fix the mistakes the previous generations made. And then you get older and you think the new generation sucks and you were right. It's a cycle everyone goes on, but nobody really knows what they're doing. Progress happens gradually, very gradually over time. People think it's so quick because we live in a tech age, but they don't realize how gradual real things happen, real breakthroughs. This is just ridiculous. Like I said, they picked very random things. I don't believe a lot of these questions are frequent. They tried to spin them in the most negative way possible. I don't think any of these questions are a bad question to ask a gay or bi person. I don't think they're offensive. I don't like that they get to speak for gay or bi people and what you should ask or not ask. And, I don't know. It just seemed like a clickbaity, BuzzFeed type video. And it did get the hits and response they wanted. So, it took very little effort. It has very little insight into being gay. It actually gives you no perspective, really, on being gay. And it really is very, distancing for straight people. It's a very, it's funny because they're writing it like they're trying to respond to questions that have an antagonism to them, but they're being antagonistic with their tone, which is weird. Now, in the video, you would think they're more friendly, but even in the video, you could tell that they think because they get triggered by certain things, it's like this blanket idea. It's very silly. It's very arrogant, too. Very arrogant. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with this? Do you not agree with this? Whatever. Do you like the commentary? If you like this video, like it, comment, and subscribe. And we'll go down this journey together, bitches. So it's the patriarchy. And I love you guys. I really do. Now, like, take your ad block off and give me money. Please.